Greetings, everyone. This is me, Zara Bazark, again on another session on these two contradictory ayats, Surah Mujadala, verse 2, and Surah Azab, verse ayat 6. So if you take Surah Azab, ayat 4, then you'll say that God did not, uh, well, here God says, I did not make these, let me go to Surah Azab, make them your mothers nor your sons, right? But remember, God has set some limits. God can do everything. So let me go Surah Azab. Now, this is Surah Azab verse, yeah. Allah has not made for any man two hearts in his one body, nor has he made your wives, whom you divorce by zihar. So you would say, he has not made, but he can do everything, right? And anything. So if he has made Prophet Muhammad's wives mothers of the believers, that would be okay, but that would not be okay even if you say it like that, because I'm going to show you that in Surah Mujadila, the second ayat, that's on grounds that no one can be your mother to them, and then it would be illogical, a fallacy to say that Allah has made Prophet Muhammad's wives, believers' mothers. Excuse me, just a minute, please, second. Right? So, right or wrong, isn't there a fallacy? God has placed limits. So, yes, God is able to do everything. He is able. But here He has set some rules, laws for us human beings to abide by, to follow, right? Some limits because rules he sent down. So since we have this ayat, and you can see I was searching for Surah limit in law, like you become transgressors. So this is about divorce. Surah Baqarah ayat 229. Divorce is twice, then after that, okay, I don't have to read about the divorce, right? But if you fear that they will not keep within the limits of Allah. Now, Allah has set some limits for you here, right? You can see this in this ayat of divorce and how to get a divorce and wait a minute, with good treatment and how to treat this, that, okay. Now, but that they will not be able to keep within the limits of Allah, limits of law, rules set by Allah, right? So if you are told that, and you are told, it's not if, so I don't know how to put it. And if you fear that they will not keep within the limits of Allah, meaning the limits of the uh, rules set by Allah, it's not put properly, but anyways, I was searching for that ayat where God says, the rules I've set for you, if you transgress them, don't transgress them, the limits I've set for you, right? Otherwise, you are what? Zalim. Hmm. So in Surah Baqarah, ayat, this has not loaded properly, Quran.com, on Surah Baqarah, ayat 229. You would be zalim, right? So once he set a limit for someone, he cannot surpass that limit. Although he is limitless. He doesn't have laws for himself. But you've got to remember this. Keep this in mind. If you say, let's say if you come, Salahuddin comes or any Muslim comes. Now you see, it's such an easy thing. I took a shortcut, but I have to go into details and not, I mean transgress my, what do you call it? How do you say it? give a brain hemorrhage to myself, an energy hemorrhage. And also, what the Muslims have done, if they keep on doing this, like insisting and not wanting to see it and keeping silent, what are they doing, you know? A great injustice to truth and justice. To the other person also, to whom those limits were set, they were told they are transgressors, they have to pay a fine, expiate, free a slave. You are doing a great injustice. And you are also hemorrhaging akal, reason. Surah Yunus ayat 100. Don't hemorrhage akal first and foremost. Then you go to hikmat, wisdom of Allah. But before that, you reason. What does God say? If you don't reason, then He will put abomination, writs on you. You will become najis, impure, like the idol worshippers, as He has said, are impure in Surah Tawbah, I think. Yes. So these are the limits of Allah. So do not transgress them. And whoever transgresses the limits of Allah, it is those who are the wrongdoers, Salimun. Right? Surah Baqarah 229. Please have a look at this part of Surah Baqarah ayat 229. There are some limits set for you here. So even though he can make your real mother not your real mother, cut off the, like he told Nuh, that this son of yours is not from your family. He can cut off the lineage. He can cut off the biological connections also. He's limitless. He can do anything. He's competent over everything, like the ayat says. Ayat say in the Quran. I don't have to go there, do I, to show you? He's most competent. He's competent over everything, however it is put. So here there are some limits. I know he can make your real mother not your real mother by just saying, he told no, that no, this is not your son. I mean, this is not from your family. That's how he put it. So someone just corrected me when I said, this is not your son. And they said, no, in the Quran ayat, it doesn't say it is not your son. You know, Shia corrected me by saying that then I looked at it and said, he's not from your all, from your family. He's disowned, meaning, right? Not that he's not your son, but he's not your all. Wouldn't it be the same thing? But no, I can't say that, right? Because the ayat doesn't say it is not your son. It says he's not from your all, meaning you, perhaps what they mean, the Shias, is that he's your disowned son now. So having a look again, mental gymnastics that I did with these ayats much earlier, but again just in the previous or the one before that live stream, and then a little bit, today, and the one after that, and now I'm doing it again. And I hope this is the last time that we don't have to hemorrhage the reason, akal. Otherwise, you'll be doing a great injustice. And some of you here will come. I mean, some of the Muslims. I know there's a big security in this. There's a big addiction. The ego's security is in this. It won't be letting go so easily. And the reason why I'm saying this is that you have to see it. I have to put it forth in front of you, right? So please don't hemorrhage reason akal. Very, very simple. God is able to do everything, but why then does He put limits to our things here? Huh? They could have called God to witness. Surah Mujadala and said, we call God to witness that you are like the back of our mothers. Then it would have been okay. Then you would have said, yes, that's okay, because Allah can do everything. And if you call Allah to witness, then it is possible. You can call them and say, you're like my mother's back, right? But here he says, if God wanted, he could. No, no, wait a minute. He has not made. Okay, he has not made. But what if he had made? Where is it again? Surah Ahzab verse. I have to go way up here. I've opened many tabs. Allah has not made. But what if he had made? Then it would have been yes, right? But he says, Allah has not made for any man two hearts in his one body, nor has. So he's saying there's only one heart. See, a limit has been set. You have only one heart that Allah has made. You could have had 10,000 hearts. But here it says, Allah has not made two hearts in one body. Very good. So you have limits to how many hearts Allah has given you, how many legs Allah has given you, how many hands Allah has given you, how many fingers Allah has given you, how many arms Allah has given you. Nor has He made your wives whom you divorced by zihar, your mothers. And how was zihar pronounced? That you are like the backs of our mothers. Nor has He made your adopted sons your sons. He has not made it like that. He has set limits on you here, right? So taking it logically with reason, intellectual reason, logic, right? We're using the mind, akal. Nor has He made your adopted sons your sons. So first He uses the body part to tell you that He gave you one heart, not two, right? Please have a look at this. And there's a lot of confidence. And you know, we ex-Muslims, we've lost, I mean, for maybe a year, it depends on how the person's disposition is. We've lost our confidence. We've put our lives at stake. You know, the Quran ayat says, those who stand for justice can be killed, are killed too, or something. And we see that we are standing on justice. And those who give wrong information be killed. I just corrected Surah Dhariyat ayat 10 by another ayat showing you the word through another ayat, right? Surah Isra ayat number 33. Qutila, be killed, right? So there's a lot at stake here. Like I have been saying, excuse me, where's my tea? Oh God. So help me show you and exhaust this today logically. See the fallacy that you may be um holding on to. And what are you doing, Muslims? You're hemorrhaging. I mean, you see, now I've come here, I'm a slow person, I'm not a debater. It took me so many days to even find Surah Mujadila at 2. I mean, this is, God knows how many times I've done this. And I've been, struggling, uh, mental gymnastics, as they say. You have given us. We are hemorrhaged. Call them by the names of their fathers. It is more just in the sight of Allah. But if you do not know their names, then they are still your brothers in religion and those entrusted to you. And there is no blame upon you for that in which you have erred, but only for what your hearts intended. And ever is Allah forgiving and merciful, but not to the transgressors. Okay, now we come to the sixth ayat. I just read the fifth ayat of Surah Ahzab. Now we come to the sixth ayat of Surah Ahzab. I have to keep saying Surah Ahzab because this one is on Surah Saad, and this surah has not loaded properly. The Prophet is more worthy of the believers than themselves, and his wives. See, that's why I didn't make a note. I was about to make a note on these 2, 3, 4, 5 ayats, but then I said, because some ayats have in the position in brackets. That's not how the ayat is. But even if the ayat was in the position of their mothers, uh, you see, when God puts a limit, then he himself can't exceed that limit that he has put on human beings for human beings, or for the prophet, or for the believers. Don't hemorrhage my reason, intellect. And if you keep changing like this, that Allah, everything is possible, Allah can do it, but they can't do it. They can't even call their adopted sons their sons. Because Allah has not made your adopted sons your real sons. Biologically, it's this is why I think God used the heart here, right? Allah has not given you, so there are some limits to you. And then there's okay, but Allah is ever is Allah forgiving and merciful, meaning you've done a wrong, and Rasulullah even made a mistake here, has erred, but only for what your heart's intended. So the defense is feeble because what their hearts intended, disbelievers as they are called, or pagan idol worshippers, it's wrong. So what? Slowly, let me see. Call them by the names of their fathers, and that is more just, more just. And there, okay, so less just. Now, would Allah do less justice than more justice? By calling his wives, he's saying, he's declaring, prophets' wives are their mothers. Prophets' wives, see, the prophet is closer to the believers than their own selves, and his wives are their mothers. I wish I had a logic, how do you say, someone with eloquence trying to explain these. I know I can see it, but I just don't have words for it. And then on what grounds in Surah Mujadil also you have to see. So we'll go there. And his wives are their mothers. But, okay, blood relations among each other have closer personal ties in the decree of Allah. So there's a decree of Allah, this decree. So there are decrees, there are methods, there are laws, there are rules, and if you transgress them, we are told you would be transgressors if you do not, like Allah has set limits for you in some cases. If you transgress those limits, you will be transgressors. So while he says Allah has not put two hearts in your body, so I was really reluctant to come and explain this in Hammerage myself, but I have to do it. This is like the Muslims have given me a great punishment. And his wives are their mothers. No, here he cannot do this. He cannot make his wives his mothers when he has set limits here. Strict. Call them by the names of their fathers. Okay, if you think this is not strict, strict because he says Allah is oft returning most merciful, but you must amend your ways. You can't do this. Adopting, calling your adopted sons your sons and giving them, yeah, he made you wives, even wives. So the reason why in my previous, a lot, some time ago, when I was doing this ayat on this contradiction, I wouldn't give wives here because I know what you would say, but I knew I was right because I used reason, logic. And what did I do that you can't do? You can also do that. But what is holding you back from doing what I am doing here? You know the injustice you are doing? Zihar is saying of a husband to his wife. Okay, there's an explanation here. Let me just, Allah is without the too many brackets, let me. But if where brackets are necessary, because the sentence goes way haywire. So I have to read in brackets. Allah has not made for a man two hearts in his interior, right? He has set some limits to your bodily parts too. And your body has limits. So why would he go? You may say, no, he can still go and say that prophets' wives are the believers' mothers. But here he's telling them, and he has not made. Okay, you'll say, he's telling them he has not made. Allah has not made your wives, whom you declare unlawful, your mothers. And also, he has not made, Allah has not made your claimed sons your true sons. Now I can read in bracket. I take the bracket. Your sons, right? He has not made your claimed sons your true sons. But if he wanted, he could have. Of course. Because when he wanted, he made the prophets wives. So why not tell us that no, it's okay. You know, they used to do this, but they brought me as witness. They called my name. They brought me as witness. Allah, I bring Allah to witness that you are like our mothers' backs. It would have been okay if Prophet Muhammad has bore witness to Allah that Allah can do everything, right? Allah could say, Zaid is your biological son. Can Allah say that? Because here it says no, he set a limit. Allah cannot say that. But Allah can say you can take him as your son. Because Allah says here also, but Allah says the truth. Because your sons are not these adopted sons whom you claim to be your sons. You claim, but if you had brought Allah to witness, even then they are not your biological sons. So don't even call them your biological sons. And don't give them your inheritance. That comes to that, right? Also. But the point here is, now how will you come? Point here is, let's see, there are many points here. Nor has he made your adopted sons your real sons. He has not made, and he says he will not make it. Here, Allah says the truth. He's as stubborn as ever. Allah is saying, Allah is stubborn. Nor has he made your adopted sons your real sons. Bas. Now, Allah is not stubborn, but you know what I mean. Oh, goodness. So, excuse me, excuse my word, language, but nor has he made your adopted sons. He has not made your adopted sons your real sons. So, for them, hear this. And then he finally goes and he says, and that is but you're saying with your mouths. So, if he's giving them this here against them, saying this against them, but Allah says the truth, then why is Allah lying here? And you would say, no, Toba, astaghfirullah, Allah never lies. Don't say this. Nauzubillah. Astaghfirullah. No, we're coming logically. You see, on there he said to them, Allah speaks the truth, and you do not call even your adopted claim sons your sons. They are your brothers. Do not even declare it or say it. He has set limits. And when he brings the law and sets limits, he himself can't, you see, say to the believers to take Prophet Muhammad's wives as their mothers. He can't tell the believers. Even though he has the power to do everything. Then if you say he has the power to do everything, then what's the use? Just, you have the power. Make us good, right? Change us. You have the power to do everything. You are able to do everything. So if you look at it from the whole picture, big picture, or you look at it through this, that he has the power to do everything, then what's the use of setting limits and rules and laws here? And then then everyone's like, why does Hazrat Khizr in Surah Kaf have to kill that boy out of fear that the believing parents, he would not turn out to be a believer, maybe out of fear for that, killed that boy? Why does Hazrat Khizr have to do this? If God wanted, God could have blessed that boy, and then we wanted to give his parents a better boy, believing child, right? Surah Kaf ayat. Hazrat Khizr explains to Hazrat Musa that I killed this boy out of fear that he will not turn out to be a believer, but he will be a what? Zalim, or out of fear. So you see, if God is able to do everything, then he can even, through prayers, make us believers, and through the believing parents, they would have prayed for their son that, oh God, make them, wouldn't, I mean, they must have prayed, like Bibi Maryam's mother prayed, we are told in Ali Imran, I think. Oh Allah, give me a blessed child, and all this. So they were believing parents. Hazrat Khizr killed the child off. So if you come like this and say, you know, then what's the use of even saying that the Jews and the Christians, Ahl Kitab, used to change the words of their holy scriptures, and this when you then and what's the use of saying if you find any contradictions here, much contradictions, then this is from other than Allah, because you can change everything. You're abrogating, you're canceling, you're um, substituting previous ayats, signs for other signs. Then who can ever catch you for anything? Then why even set limits and admonishments and laws and rules and this and that? When you are competent over everything, able, you have the power, you are able to do everything, then why set limits? Power to do everything. You could have, for example, you could have made that boy. Hazrat Khizr came. Hazrat Khizr, who is above Musa, he had ilm laduni. He had ilm laduni more than Musa, Hazrat Musa, the prophet of his time. He had finished all that work with Pharaoh or something, and then he went with his page, seeking someone who would teach him more knowledge, wisdom from God, have ilm laduni, and give it, impart to him. So he could have. Why does he have these limits, right? That we had to kill the boy. Believers. His, his parents were believers, we are told in the ayat, not in the hadith. In Surah Kaf ayat. Not Kaf with a K, not with a Q. So you see, these are the things. And let's see if I finish this exhausted in how many? Oh my God, will Muslims come here and listen to this 32 minutes ago? So I'm so sorry. Please bear with me. So, it's taken such a long time to tell you, or maybe I did in my previous video or live streams, much, I mean, long ago. So, what do you say? Just a minute, please. Let me just. Oh my God, do you realize what you are doing, Muslims? And it's not like 1 or 2 days, it's been many, many years. Shias also calling out to Shias. Shias, where are you? Look, Hazrat Khizr. I didn't. So, you see, let's keep it. It would have been so simple if your intellect is defeated, you are brainwashed. That egoistic security in this conditioned, heavily conditioned, deeply conditioned. And you are doing a great injustice. Uh, Giving yourself the confidence that you are a Muslim, you will be freed. If you do something bad, maybe an Amir of the Muslim country or a Sheikh or someone, even the president can maaf you, forgive you, let you go. In prison, you do this reformation thing, read Quran, you know, become a good Muslim, reform. But if you don't, If you're not a Muslim, then the punishment is heavier for you. Isn't it so in some countries? I've heard. Maybe I have misheard. You know what you have done. So, a great injustice. Let alone this Prophet Muhammad and his Allah. So, where am I? Surah Mujadila. Now, look at the grounds. He has set a limit for them, but okay, you'll say he set a limit for the believers, but Prophet Muhammad was asked to marry as many as he likes at that time, and then he set a limit to Prophet Muhammad too, right? But did he ever tell the polytheists that, look, you are marrying too many women, it's wrong, don't do it? Otherwise, I would have certainly found that ayat and given you a contradiction. So if it was like this, right? You polytheists, you marry many women, keep to your limit. Don't do like prophets are allowed because of this reason. So give us the reason so that the war happens against them and women become more, the men become less. Prophet has to marry. That reason we were given, right? In the hadiths, tafsirs. Now, where is Mujadila? I'm going. I should have gone up. How long will it take? Because I have to go soon and then come back if I don't finish it here on this live stream on time. So I'm pressed with time. Okay, here it is. Those Surah Mujadila, it's not helping. So mothers, except those who gave birth to them. Just outside here, you see this? See, on the grounds, this ground also. Here God said, see, God could have said, those among you who divorce their wives by declaring them to be their mothers, declaring them to be their mothers. The duty is not to become their mothers, but just declaring them. They've explained that to their wives. Just divorce on divorce. Such are not their mothers. Okay. No, such are not their mothers. The wives are not their mothers. But now, on what grounds? None are their mothers except those who gave birth to them. Did I say this? I must have said this in my previous live stream. That if God had said, God has not made them your mothers, right? Like God said in Surah Azab, verse 4 or 5. 4, I think. Surah Azab, verse 4. God has not made your wives your mothers. But here, God does not put until I say, these are your wives. No, these are your mothers. But God has put what grounds here? None are their mothers except those who gave birth to them. Now he's added something more. He said, none are their mothers except those who gave birth to them. And this is about zihar. So it means what? Here, indeed, what they say is highly contemptible and false. But okay, verily Allah is of pardoning, most forgiving. But what happens now? This pardoning and forgiving, that you have to now, if you do this, what is the punishment for this in the next ayat? You are told, third ayat. What is the punishment for you? So there is an outright contradiction here between Surah Mujadila ayat 2 and Surah Azab ayat 6. Mothers of, the wives of Prophet Muhammad are made mothers of the believers. On what grounds? Allah has set limits here for human beings. And here in this ayat, it says, none are the mothers except those who gave birth to them. So none are even, can't be the believers' mothers even, except those who gave birth to them, right? If he's telling the disbelievers, none are their mothers except those who gave birth to them, do you think this rule, law applies only to the disbelievers? No, it can't. Because this is about mothers who have given birth. And who has given birth to the believers? Their mothers. So wherever there are mothers who have given birth, believers have their mothers who have given birth to them. Right? Believers have mothers who have given birth to them. They are not orphans. If Allah had said, the wives of the Prophet are the mothers of the orphan believers, you could say yes, there's no contradiction. That's great. But here for them on these ground, even he says here, none, Allah says, none are their mothers, except those who gave birth to them. Do you think the believers were orphans, didn't have mothers? No. So it applies to the believers also. They have mothers who have given them birth. So now how can Allah go against his laws set on these people for the believers? Regarding the wives of the Prophet. Totally unfair, unjust. Allah says the lie. Allah does not say a lie, right? It is said in Surah 5th, I think, of Surah Azab. Now, such a simple, contradiction. You don't see it, and then you've made the mind hemorrhage, the reason hemorrhage, and moreover, so much injustice by keeping silent. And again coming, if you are like that, Salah ad-Din, again coming and saying, I'll try to follow you. I'll try to follow this. You've startled us, you've put us so we are on. So this is a clear, although I may not have been able to explain it in this way before even, like much, much before, but now I've done it. So slow am I, and with struggle, I have to struggle with my energy that is hemorrhaging all the time. I have no rest. I'm a wreck, nervous wreck, and I'm a energy, wreck. I have no energy hemorrhaging in me. And I have to struggle to explain. It's taken a year about this contradictory ayat. When did I start? Before a year? So please don't do that injustice. Muslims, there's a lot at stake. Surah Dhariyat ayat. Those misinform us to be killed. Although some Muslims say cursed. Lanat. It's not lanat, it's qutilu. Qutila. Sorry, qutila. The word. But some translators put cursed. That's also wrong. I just showed you the ayat in Surah Isra 33 verse. Qutila means be killed or who are killed. So misinformation, mistranslation, misrepresentation, lies happening. And if you use this law against Prophet Muhammad, he should have been killed himself. He should have been killed. And those with him. Apply the same rules to yourself, right? Making people fearful and so about hell, and moreover, so many things, killing them for misinformation or lies, not finding better ways of reforming human beings. Now, this is a very clear contradiction. I've explained it through every way, hopefully. So, none are their mothers except those who gave birth to them. None are their mothers except those who gave birth to them. Do you think do you think the believers were orphans? And what about the orphans? Marry them. You can't take them as adopted children, giving them your name. Surah Nisa ayat, right? Where is it? If you can't marry the orphans, then marry of your own choice, 1, 2, 3, 4, whichever ayat it is. So there's a allowance for you, you know, if you can't marry. Look at this ayat also. If you help orphans like this by marriage, can't marry orphans. Quickly, Surah Nisa at 6, yeah. The test the orphans in the, and no, and perceive sound judgment. If you fear you might fail to give orphan women their due rights, if you were to marry them, my goodness. So it's not if you can't marry, but if you fear you might fail to give, you will fear. Believers, how well this is written. And then there's a hadith of Prophet Muhammad, the Shias tell us, you know, Prophet Muhammad will be like this, two fingers together, with the orphans on the day of judgment, like this, so close together. What is this, right? If you fear you might fail to give orphan women their due rights, if you were to marry them, and now you can't even adopt them properly, right, as your daughters. So, what did the pagan Arabs do, you think? Zaid was kidnapped, we are told. He was sold. Muhammad bought him. Then his father found out and came and asked his Muhammad's uncle to release him. 3. Ayat 3 of Surah Nisa. If you fear you might fail to give orphan women their due, I don't have to read this. If you were to marry them, then marry other women of your choice, 2, 3, or 4. But if you are afraid you will fail to maintain justice, then content yourselves with one or those bondwomen in your possession. These bondwomen are gone. Because if you've even failed to give orphans a due, then marry, oh goodness, in marriages, the due. So sorry. Okay, I have to go. Thank you very much.